Can you hear me? Oh, there it is. Sweet. Now it works. Ken, so you said you're at work?
Yeah, I think he's at work. I don't think he could hear you.
Okay, here we go.
It's not working. There it is. Okay. Wow, we are live. Awesome. Welcome, Miss Bella.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm getting over the Waza sickness. So if I sound sick,
Uh-oh.
everyone got sick after Whatappalooza. So we're thriving now.
Oh, damn. So there's like a whole thing that everybody went through there?
Yeah, we kind of all just got not quite a cold, not quite the flu. We all just felt pretty terrible for a week or so after the fact. So
Oh,
I'm finally
no.
getting back to health. We're good. It's what happens. I mean, you're around thousands of people, you're having so much fun, you're sleeping 0 minutes. So it's just
Okay.
it's just part of it. And it's fine. It's all good. We're good.
Anything possibly to do with all the energy output that everybody's putting out?
Oh
Plus, you're
yeah.
probably not drinking enough water, probably not
Oh yeah.
sleeping enough. I'm sure
Oh yeah.
that leads to
It all
something.
goes together. Yeah, it's the combination. I mean, so many people, that is the event for them to
Mm-hmm.
go to in the year. And then if you don't
Mm-hmm.
make any of the kind of qualifying events or you don't make it to the games, Whatappalooza is the event to go to. So you're like, I'm going to spend every bit of energy that I have and I'm going to have so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
My body will recover eventually. We'll drink the water when we get home.
I don't know if there's enough liquid IV to fix that on site because I'm
No.
imagining there's probably, I don't know, upward to 5 to 10 coffee shops, a bunch of rain, a bunch of monster stuff. So then you're just taking the pick of the litter, I guess.
Oh yeah, I think I chose NoCo instead of water 10 out of 10 times.
Mm-hmm.
And they know me now and we work together now, so they don't question it when they come back for another one. Like, have you
Okay.
had what they used to be like, have you had water? Ma'am, you should
We just want to be good
sprinkle it
people and
in.
make sure you're hydrating.
Yeah, no, they
But at
don't
this
they don't
point,
care anymore. Nobody questions me.
what's your favorite flavor from NoCo?
Ooh, the Miami flavor is phenomenal.
Nice.
Miami strawberry or blood orange. I have those two
Um,
stocked up in my fridge. So
I'm a little over orange. I feel like everybody's come out with an orange. Like that's almost the first flavor that
no,
every company comes out with. Like
no, no.
I just started drinking like the primes.
Okay.
No free shout outs. But I think that this is an energy drink. I didn't know that they had one up until recently. But I find these to be better, but their orange is it's just like the rest of them. It's just super amounts of the flavor orange, and then the rest of it's too much. It's like having too sweet of coffee.
Oh, I don't put sugar in my coffee anyway. I can't handle that. No
Do you do
thanks.
do you do creamer in your coffee?
No,
No, just straight black coffee.
no, we're going Americanos all the way. We're not doing anything.
Okay, are we a pour overs, a machine, a slow
It
drip?
depends. It depends. So at my house, it's French press all the way every single day because
Okay.
it's easy and I can drink the entire thing and we're good. We're living.
Hmm.
If I'm going anywhere else, it's just whatever they've got for me.
Okay.
Espresso all day, every day.
Do you have a local coffee shop that you're intact with, or is it just kind of like a
Um,
Starbucks thing?
No, I mean, I'll drink any kind of coffee. I work a lot with Paper Street Coffee, and so they keep
Hmm.
me very caffeinated. And especially since they're coming to so many events, if I ever need anything, my favorite thing is Gabe, the owner. We were at an event, and a woman called him Sweet Angel. Once he gave her coffee, she's like, "Oh my gosh, thank you, Sweet Angel." And I thought that was probably the funniest thing I've ever heard someone say to someone they don't really know. And so
Hmm.
now I call Gabe Sweet Angel, and then since we work together and he always gives me coffee. He's my sweet angel, which is
Please tell
still
me that
honestly, it's so funny.
is that how you sign your emails to him or any text
Yes.
messages?
Yes. And then when I send my friends that are like, "Oh, I need coffee," say, "Go to Paper Street, tell them, thank you, sweet
Hmm.
angel," and he'll know exactly who sent you over. It'll make him laugh. It's a whole thing. So
I
yeah.
can't wait for so for anybody who's listening, because there's sometimes the numbers fluctuate for us. If you hear this, Paper Street Coffee is going to come on with us in the next couple of weeks, and we're going to start doing some deals, some business partnership, some stuff here and there with them. But now I can't wait for the next email. I'm so going to put that in there.
Sign it, sweet
I
angel.
think I think I should put that in kind of like almost like small text. just to see if he
Yes.
can like zoom in on the email just to see it. But that would be a good way to do that. So thank you for that. That's
No,
good.
Chris, it'll make him laugh and he'll know it's me. So
Oh, nice. And I can imagine just how funny that's going to be for me to send that. But for him, that's probably going to be slightly embarrassing, but maybe not.
no, it'll feel good. It'll feel right.
So, hey there, everybody. Welcome to the show. We had a little bit of chit chat at the beginning here. I'm your host, Steve Holt. Ken Clark, or as he's better known if Clark Kent was black, is at work. So he has a big boy job. I do too, but my big boy job for the next, I don't know, 5 weeks. Well, actually, no, 9 weeks is babysitting my new little 3-month-old munchkin. He's watching Trolls at the moment, behaving. But if he doesn't, a little bit of house cleaning at the top. If he doesn't, perhaps I might step away to change a diaper, come right back, and we'll edit that part out as long as Ken does his job. Okay. But without further ado, we have Miss Bella Martin on the show, who I got. How did I get? I got in touch with you through Instagram, but mainly because I was talking to Rachel Moore. And I was going through a bunch of her photographs, and I saw somebody who was very vibrant and who had a microphone in their hand. And then as I started doing a little bit of stalking, Instagram stalking, some social media stuff, I started seeing you at a bunch of different places. And then I caught you in one of my pictures in my photo reel from BCS.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
So I decided I think it's time that I figure out who you are, because you might have been the loudest person on the microphone there.
Probably.
Yep. And I had actually looked at one of my partners, or not partners, training partners that was at our gym. We had 9 teams that went that this year. And I was like, I didn't even hear 3, 2, 1 go because I heard her on the other event. But
So
maybe that's me. That might
corral,
just be
and then I'm on
me
the other side.
not. I could just not be paying attention. Anybody who knows me, that's very true. So
It's fine.
we'll start off here. Bella, why don't you go ahead, tell us a little bit about yourself, tell the people what you do.
Yeah, so I think that's actually really funny. In the past probably 6 months, I've had a lot of conversations that have kind of gone very similar to this of, I had no idea who you are, and now you're everywhere you. And to me, that tells me that I'm doing a very good job at what I'm doing, because
Mm-hmm.
here I am. Yet I'm hard to miss. If you're not listening to me, I'm probably out there dancing and embarrassing myself doing something. So I am an MC for CrossFit events, for functional fitness events, and I get to do that all over the world, which is pretty freaking amazing.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I started doing this probably almost 2 years ago, so it's been a very quick kind of rocket ship to the moon journey for my career. I started something that was really fun this past couple weeks. We were in Miami for Wadapalooza, and I was able to follow the elites for the entire weekend. So the individuals for the first 2 days and the teams for the second 2. And something that, that sounds like it's amazing, and it is absolutely amazing. But for me, the year before, I had actually volunteered as an MC at Wadapalooza, and I was doing, every single thing that they asked of me. You could tell me I'm going to be on stage for 8 hours straight, and I would have said, yeah, absolutely, I'm here, let me do it, please, I'll show you what I can do. And
Mm-hmm.
in the past year since then, I have done so many events, and I have kind of proven myself to our industry that I really care about what I'm doing. And
Mm-hmm.
so they gave me that opportunity to kind of go with the big dogs. And that,
Mm-hmm.
that full circle moment was definitely not lost on me when I walked out onto Flagler for the first time under those lights. And I looked up at all of these people, and I wouldn't say that Wadapalooza is the biggest stage that I've been on at this point, but it is so iconic. And so for me, on that
Yeah.
floor, I was looking around, and I kind of got a little bit teary-eyed that first day and thinking, oh my goodness, I'm here right now. And I've come so far in the last year. And so the fact that you didn't know me too long ago, it's not surprising, but I am here. And I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
be here for a really long time. Pretty much anywhere you guys are, I will be there.
That is, I don't mean, so from basically volunteering and getting an MC's job
Mhm.
to where you are now is, in my mind, the equivalent of being on the practice squad for any
Yeah.
major sport and then getting called up and kind of being like the starting quarterback all of a sudden.
It feels like that, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
It really does. I'm still shocked when these major competitions contact me and they say, we want to bring you out overseas. We want to bring you out to all of these events. And you're here to do the elites. You're not here to do our scale divisions or our intermediates. They're flying me out to the big dogs. And
Okay.
to me, I'm still shocked. I'm still thinking, you sure? Like, you contact the right person. It's me, but it's becoming me. And I'm, becoming more confident with that and with everything that comes with that being my job. There's so many, moving parts with being the MC, but it's crazy. It's been a really fun past 2 years, kind of figuring out myself and then figuring out where I fit into our amazing sport.
So did you spend any time in like that intermediate? Like you said, they don't call you for the intermediate stuff. Did you spend any time other than that first time at
Yeah.
Wadapalooza?
Oh yeah. So that first, I mean, my first probably 10 events were local events where I wasn't making any money. And I was
Mm-hmm.
just, hey, I'm going to do this for you guys. I did a lot of High Rocks events
Mm-hmm.
and I was on the mic there. And there's no, I mean, there's different divisions for High Rocks, but there is no real distinction between the elites, the pros, and things like that. Everyone kind of is together.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did. I mean, I've done a lot of the intermediates. And if they called me up tomorrow, if any comp called me up tomorrow and said, hey, we want you to do the intermediates, cool. I love my job regardless. I don't,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't matter to me necessarily who's out there on the floor. I think most people, the glamour of being around the professionals is really cool and that's what they want to do. But for me, I mean, it's almost more exciting commentating on the scaled and the intermediates and the masters than it
Mm-hmm.
is the elites because you can kind of almost, I mean, close your eyes and you can call it elite heat and you know what's going to happen
Mm-hmm.
because these athletes are so consistent. The excitement and the adventure and the PRs and all of the craziness and the emotion really comes out with the other divisions. So there's,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's beauty in both. So anytime I'm on the microphone, I'm happy.
So I can definitely see that, especially when you have like elite folks where I don't want to say it's boring or like how you said, like you could close your eyes and you could call it. It's different when it's somebody you don't know their name, right? People don't have a YouTube page that is exploded through, and you have to call them based on their likeness, who they kind of seem to be,
Yeah.
what are they doing, and then get a crowd to either get behind that person or somebody else who's rival lanes, and then you're trying to pitch, at least in my opinion, whether or not somebody is juxtapositioning for like a
Mhm.
leaderboard spot. And I can imagine that being much harder, if not much more entertaining from your perspective, where
It's a
you have
lot
to kind
more
of challenge
storytelling.
yourself. Yes,
Yeah, it's
there you
more of
go.
the storytelling. I mean, everybody will cheer for Ricky Garrard. Everybody will cheer for Brent Fikowski. But let me find a story and let me tell you why you should be cheering for the mom that's in lane 4. Let me figure that out. And then a lot of these
Mhm.
people, I mean, when they hear their name on a microphone, they're so excited because they don't often
Mhm.
hear their name on a microphone. They don't understand, how fun that feels. And so when
Yeah.
I'm out there and I'm saying it, especially now when I kind of have done these other events, when someone hears that I'm giving them attention, they get like not nervous, but they're like, oh my goodness, this is cool. Like she
Mhm.
said my name. And people will send me messages and like, you said my name. And I'm
Mhm.
thinking, I'm doing my job. Like I should say your name. You're welcome, I guess. I don't know.
So I had a small, I wouldn't say it wasn't anything necessarily. I don't know that you were doing, but if you remember Friday Night Lights at BCS this
Oh
year,
yeah. Oh yeah.
um, I was on the floor a couple, like 2 or 3 lanes from Rich,
Okay.
and I went first. My partner, she went second, and Rich had gone second, but
Hmm.
his partner cycled through fast enough that it was roughly about the time I was doing the bar muscle ups
Okay.
that I was kind of finishing, and I started to hear like the crowd kind of getting loud.
Hmm.
I didn't think that it was personally for me, but it was an exciting thing. And being
Yeah.
out there and like seeing something like, you're doing something and you hear like some rumbles and whatnot. So you get excited. Well, I get off the bar and I finally finish and I turn around and it was blaring, but it wasn't because of anything I did or anything anybody else did. It was because Rich took off. And then I watched
Yeah.
as every other athlete who had finished crossed the finish line, had their hands in the air. They were giving thumbs up to people they saw in the crowd and whatnot, and they were excited. And then they turned around and it was quiet for them. And they just kind of realized, like, okay, I had my small moment. That was cool. Oh shit. Now I realize what was really going on. I thought it's not the same as like an MC calling your name, but those kind of moments where you have like that excitement. For me, I had one and then it really cooled down very fast.
Funny because
I-
I think with that event, I remember specifically that night and the reason people were so excited. So Rich's teammate was I want to say she was 14. Morgan is
I believe,
14 or
yeah,
15.
Morgan
She's super
Hickson.
young.
Mhm.
She's super young. And so, she had gone and there was not a lot of time left on that clock for them to finish. And I don't think I've ever seen Froning get time capped before. And I've seen him, and I mean, we've all seen him a lot. I've never seen him get time capped before. And so I
No,
think
but that
people are
he had no
in this
choice.
arena. Well,
Yeah,
no, but think about it this way. He got very close. And so I think people are watching him. And even though it is a charity competition, Rich doesn't just show up to do
no,
fitness. Rich shows up to perform and show, hey, I am Rich Froning. Like, I'm here. Trust
you're
me.
here.
I
You
know what I'm
paid
doing.
good money to come watch your friends, but I think he also
Yeah.
understands his name is plastered on everything that they promote for that event. His presence is now his ability to help his community back home
Yeah.
just by showing up somewhere.
Absolutely. And
I
he's
thought
such
it was
he's such
phenomenal.
a doll. He's great. He's amazing.
He and I got to talk for like 10 or 15 minutes and we did a warm up together for that event. And so it was really cool that it was my first night there. My partner and I were just kind of like, oh, how do you want to do this? Whatever. So we start getting through some of the snatch stuff. And then I grabbed somebody else's bar that they had gone before us and he walked in. I try to not ever really be like starstruck or like being in the military. Like if I see like a colonel or a general walk in, for me, I honestly try to just be like, that person is normal. Yes, they're a dad. Yes, they're a mom. But they are literally no different of a person than me. They're just more educated, probably. And so when Rich walked in, I was like, oh, cool. There's Rich. And my partner was like, yeah, hey, like there he is. There's your guy. And I was like, huh. Went back to doing what I was doing. Then he came over to me and I could not help. But after the first like 2 or 3 minutes of talking, I just looked at her and I gave out a big smile. And then I made it go away. I was like, no, we got to hold this down deep. We got to just talk to him like a normal person. Shut the fuck
be
up.
Cool, man. Be cool.
Don't do anything dumb. And then we got in the corral and I was trying to, he was kind of like maybe like a foot or two away from me. And I was just going to ask him like, hey, afterwards, can I just get a picture and I'll, basically leave you alone for the weekend. I've already seen how crazy it is for you. But he couldn't hear me. So I yelled, but it was at a moment where the entire place all of a sudden went quiet for 5 seconds. And here I am just in the middle of nowhere, just yelling his name. And he kind of looks like he's startled. And I was like, can I get a picture with you afterwards? Do you mind? Like it was like nonchalant and quiet. So the ebb and flow of our conversation after that day, I was like, all right, I'm good. Leave him alone. We don't need to poke down that hole. But let me ask you, as an MC, there's a lot of people who I have no idea what MC means, okay. Or stands for. And as an MC, what is a day in the life of an MC like?
Okay. So and
Where'd you go? Oh no. What? No. What just happened? Uh-oh. Oh no. What is going on here? Oh no. What happened? Uh-oh. Well, I'm so sorry, guys. I think we just had a little bit of a hiccup. Let's get her back.
we're back now. Oh my goodness. I don't know what happened.
There.
Everything went black. We're back. But MC stands for Master of Ceremonies.
Yeah. Give me 1 second.
You're okay.
All right. We're going to do this, huh? All right, buddy.
Oh, it's a baby.
That mode has been activated.
That's okay.
This we're gonna do this
We'll do
somehow,
it.
some way, Bubba's. You just know how to make an entrance, huh?
That is okay.
I'm sorry, buddy. Yeah. Whoever's watching this on YouTube after this, like, just know I have my life together.
Yeah,
I swear.
Everything's
swear.
fine. Everything's good.
All right,
CrossFit's for
Bubba's.
the community.
Yes, there you go. So, Tracy boy, meet Miss Bella. Miss Bella, meet Trace.
Hi, baby.
And all right, so let's get into being an MC. What is
Yes.
that day in the life like? And what does MC stand for?
So MC stands for Master of Ceremonies.
Okay.
And that's kind of the official, back when they created the name. But then there's also EMCEE, which is kind of the title. That's what we use. And so for me, a day in the life of me, when I tell you what my day is like, please don't think that my life is super, super easy, because it sounds like I live a dream. So I get up typically around 7, and I'll eat breakfast, take my dog on a walk, and then I'll go to the gym. And I follow Mayhem and I work with Mayhem. So for me, whatever we have on the schedule for that day, that's as long as I'm at the gym until it's done. After that, I'll usually go home and take my dog out again, and I'll get on my computer and I'll do all of the kind of backside emails of things. So I work with several brands. I do photo shoots in town, and it's a lot of just kind of responding to people, making sure all of my contracts are met, and make sure that everything that I've said that I will do, I'll do. And then, I have time for podcasts like this, or calls with companies, or with competitions that want me to come out. A lot of just business in the middle of the day. And then in the afternoon, if I'm feeling up for it, I'll go back for a second session and spend the afternoon back at the gym. And then I'll come home, and that's my day. And then that's kind of the Monday through Wednesday, I would say. And then when it comes to, if there's an event that weekend, that is one of the bigger events, I'll spend the week leading up doing a lot of research on athletes and their histories, their strengths, their weaknesses, their recent performances, where they're from, what their name sounds like, all of those things, the history of the events. So I'm incredibly educated when I get out onto the competition floor. It's not something that I would say is required for my job, to be educated and to know kind of who's out there and why they're out there. But I think that's something that I've taken, and I've thought, this is important to me to know, as a, not necessarily a fan of CrossFit, but as someone who follows the sport. I want to be as educated as I can, because I know there's people at home that know every single stat about all of these athletes. And I want to appeal to them if they're watching. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that I'm this super, CrossFit frother that's just obsessed, but I want to be educated, and I want to know their stories, and I want to know how I can make you care about their stories more. So it's a lot of research on that way. And then when I have to travel for events, typically I'll leave on a Wednesday or a Thursday and come back Monday morning. Unless it's international, then I try to spend a couple extra days out there and spend some time enjoying different people, communities, cultures, things like that. So I would say my life normally is pretty awesome. And then when I travel, it's pretty amazing. It does get a little hectic with, just making sure everything is met. And then traveling, I mean, if you've traveled recently, it's kind of a nightmare, but it's good for me.
So, about how often do you get to do your actual job?
So as of 2023, I have 23 events that are booked for my calendar year. So a lot of them are actually in the fall, and they'll start, I mean, there's sprinkling here and there in the beginning, and then my fall starting in June is just absolutely slammed all the way through December. And so it's cool to see, these events that are happening in October, November, December that are already getting booked, that are CrossFit. And a lot of my events are CrossFit licensed events. So it's fun to see a lot of CrossFit licensed events pop up in other places, because that shows that our sport is growing, and that's what we want. That's how we know we're doing the right thing. So it's
And
a
that
lot.
means you get to travel.
I get to travel. I don't mind. I booked an event this week. I'll be going to Spain on my birthday this year. So that'll be super fun. Can't wait. I know.
Is
Can't
that
say
the
that's too
Madrid
bad.
Championships?
No, so that one will be in September. So I'll go out to Madrid in September. I'll fly back for Beach Brawl, which is the week after. And then I'll fly back over there to Marbella, which is in the south of France, kind of near Ibiza, and then I'll stay there for a couple days after the event, celebrate my birthday, then I'll come home, and then I'll just keep traveling.
I mean, that to me, to be honest, like as much as like a lot of people would probably say that that's like a dream job to like get paid to travel, essentially. When you're traveling and you have homework,
Yeah.
that's different. When
It's so different.
there's people counting on you, you have business meetings and you're doing it in a different country. It can be fun, don't get me wrong. Like with the military, I've done a little bit of that, but it's, you know, a little bit less fun. And the travel is definitely on the cheaper side of everything. But the like getting the opportunity to go somewhere you can't miss. And like for us, hopefully like we'll get to go overseas next. And just that opportunity alone is awesome. But when you have a job to do, got to work hard to play hard, I guess.
Absolutely. And for me, I grew up in a military family, so we actually traveled a
Oh,
lot growing up. And so being able to now do that for myself, but it's my job now, I can relate to, you know, how my dad felt growing up, where it's, yeah, we're going to go somewhere, but yeah, I have to work. I'm sorry. It's still amazing. The countries are
mhm.
beautiful and the people are so welcoming. But at the end of the day, it is my job and it is my work. And so as fun as I'm, you know, as much fun as I have, it's still work first, and then whatever time you have left, if you have time at all, then you can go, you know, play a little bit.
Yeah. Now, you and I talked about this earlier and how this wasn't necessarily what you got your degree in or anything. Why don't you just tell the folks at home a little bit about what you went to school for and maybe where you went to
Yeah.
school?
Oh my goodness, Texas A&M. I was there for undergrad and grad school.
Go
It's the best
Aggies.
place in the world, Giga Mags. So I went to school for sport management, and I always knew that that's what I wanted to do. I
Hmm.
I always knew that I wanted to work in sports, and I wanted to work in a capacity where I was making sports a better place. So growing up, for whatever reason, my moral compass said there's a lot of bad people in sports, and I want to be one of the good ones. I don't know, can't explain it. And I wouldn't necessarily say that's what I'm doing now, but I would say that I'm bringing, you know, good people and good vibes into CrossFit. And so for me, going to grad school, I was studying athlete branding and then, you know,
Hmm.
thinking, what am I going to do? Am I going to help athletes brand themselves? I'm going to do partnerships. Am I going to work for a team and do partnerships for them? Am I going to be the next Charlotte Jones Anderson? You know, who am I and what is Miss Bell Martin going to be? I don't know.
Hmm.
COVID hit and I started working with a sports candle company doing their partnerships. So we did white label candles for NFL teams, MLB teams, professional athletes, you name it. Anybody who wanted a custom candle that they could send to their fan base, that's what we were
Hmm.
doing. And my job was to get people to actually, you know, want to do things with us. So within the first couple months, I got the Cowboys to come on and do two different candles. And
Oh,
the
wow.
NFLPA, we put a candle in their Players Association box. And so it was a dream. I mean, it was so much fun. I was using my degree, but it was also COVID. And so
Hmm.
that was not, I mean, doing your own business, starting up a business, that's not really what you need to be doing during COVID. And it was a really hard time for my business partners. And so, you know, eventually we had to kind of both step away from that, which is when I stepped into coaching. And
Hmm.
then from coaching, kind of became MC opportunities came up. And then from there, now I'm here. And so I would say it's been a really, you know, up and down shift of working in partnership side to working with people. Now I'm working with brands, but I'm also working with people. So I'm kind of combining everything that I've ever learned to do for myself and in my own job.
What a wild time that was to do anything.
Yeah,
Not only
absolutely.
like it was
Especially at 23.
like people trying to either open up businesses or keep businesses afloat, wild fucking time. But then there was so many people who didn't know what they wanted to do and just literally started doing something. And it's
Yeah.
completely opposite of like how you not using your degree. People just got into something and took that like life savings and was like, I can make it work. Like I got
I can
nothing but
try.
time at home. And now you have, I would say almost since COVID really sparked, I think the like the YouTube like
Hmm.
content creator lifestyle. Um, not that it maybe not that it created it, but it really gave it a big fire. And now like
Yeah.
even this podcast, my buddy and I, it wasn't during COVID, but it was shortly after kind of things subsided and it got back to normal that we were kind of like, well, people seem to be able to do all this stuff over Zooms, like Joe Rogan and all of them, they still had some people in studio, so you kind of didn't see that in like major ones. But I was
Yeah.
like, if other people can do this, why not? Like, we can try.
Yeah.
So, I mean, COVID, I think, God, a wild time to start coaching too.
Yeah. I mean, for me, when it came to COVID, I decided that I was not going to be one of those people that just felt sorry for myself. And I've never been
Mhm.
that kind of character that's, let's what's going on in the world really change what my
Yeah.
direction is going to be. And so when I had the opportunity to coach, I took it and I thought,
Mhm.
this probably won't be my forever. I absolutely love coaching and I think it's amazing. And my mom, growing up, she was a fitness professional and I coached swimming for several years. And so for me, coaching feels very comfortable. And I know that if
Mhm.
there's ever a time where I have the availability, I'll fall back onto it and I would love to
Yeah.
coach. But I mean, at the same time, it's this weird time in life where some people were afraid to come into the gyms. Some people were trying to do it home. And the gym was this, okay, well, you got to stay 5 feet away from me, but we're kind of sweating on the same equipment anyway. And we're kind of already
Mhm.
here. It was really strange. So just being able to love on people during that time, I was able to do that as a coach. And then it kept me from living under an overpass, and
Mhm.
it worked out well.
And you live up in Austin, right?
I do. Yes.
Ah, yes. Which another. I mean, I wasn't really here in San Antonio when COVID hit. We were up in Colorado Springs, but I do remember that it almost just didn't make sense how you could go into a gym and then they'd
Yeah.
be like, hey, like stay apart from each other, stay in this box. And there's still gyms now that I see videos of all the time where they still have their boxes up, like the taped
Yeah.
off box. And it's not old tape, it's new tape. And they're
I think
they're
people get
holding
comfortable
true.
with it. Yeah.
I think
People
so. And
decide that's what they want.
I think you'd also like so I just finished coaching or stopped coaching, I should say, when I took over with him. Oh goodness. And that coach, he had us lay out cones every single place that we wanted athletes. So that was something where I wasn't used to positioning somebody specifically and being like, hey, this is your area. But I could
Mhm.
understand now where like the squares, they really helped kind of like put people in certain pegs and then just be like, hey,
Yeah.
all your equipment comes here, clean it all before you're done. And then when we're done, we're done. One second. I'm so
You're all
sorry.
right.
Bubba, you are just being a little munch. You sit here again. Just hang out. Clear your mouth. Nine. Bubba's. You're killing me, pal. Oh, geez, Louise. Bella, do you ever plan on having kids?
Probably. I
Okay.
think so. One of them. I'll have one.
The 3-month mark is killing me.
I have a dog, and so for me, it's not even kind of the same as a child. But I'm like, if I can keep you alive, we'll be good.
Mm-hmm. Well, I have 2 dogs, and they are very protective of him, but they are both knocked out. They're done with him for the day. He came out fire this morning.
It's okay.
All right, so we've talked a lot about you being an MC. Let's talk about you getting into CrossFit. When, where, kind of, how did that start?
So I love this story because I think it also kind of falls into most of my journey in the sport. So for me, I was not necessarily a CrossFit naysayer, but growing up, CrossFit didn't have the best reputation. And I was a swimmer, and my mom and dad were like, yeah, no, CrossFit, like, kind of, that's not our thing. We're not doing that. So I just listened to them and I never really questioned it. Most people don't. And so
So, would you, because you and I talked about you getting into CrossFit and the community itself, did that take a long time for you to kind of get integrated, or were you somebody who kind of drank the
yeah.
Kool-Aid?
So I don't know if I necessarily drink the Kool-Aid. So for me, I never did it. And then I had a friend who not necessarily bullied me into it, but he was like, you should try it. You should really try it. And I thought, no, it's probably not for me. It's probably not for me. Haha, it is for me.
It's
So
exactly
I
for me.
decided I was going to go try a free week at one of the gyms in College Station. I went, I was absolutely, I mean, the first day I actually hated it. And then the next day when I went back, I thought, oh yeah, this is great. This is so good. This is for me. This is my thing.
Mhm.
And then I just kept going back and I kept going back. And then the people that I met through it, I really enjoyed their company. And then when I moved to Austin and I joined a bigger gym,
Great
I'm
CrossFit town.
yeah, I would say it's a good CrossFit town. I think there's a lot of opportunity in different boxes. There's different kinds of communities that you can kind of pick and choose from based on what your need is. And so for me, went to a big gym, met a lot of really fun people, started coaching at
Mhm.
that gym, and I was very welcomed very quickly. And I
Yeah.
also, yeah, I mean, I think it would be really hard not to welcome like an early 20s something girl into a community. I feel
Mhm.
like it's just unless I'm super mean and I really enjoy people. So I think coming into a gym, if I had not been received well, I'd be like, man, maybe this sport isn't for me. But every gym
Mhm.
I've ever gone to, people are always very excited to have me come into the community. And I think that's something really special about CrossFit as a whole and CrossFit as a community is I can go around the world and it doesn't matter where I am, I'm going to be invited into the
Mhm.
box and people are going to be really happy that I'm there.
The only reason I've ever seen somebody kind of not be invited or like people not be very inviting is if you kind of do something to step on people's toes and it doesn't
Yeah.
seem genuinely a mistake.
Yeah.
So like if you come in and you're like late to a class and then you're talking during the class and then you're trying to tell the coach like, hey, I don't really like to do this thing that's in your workout, then you can
Yeah.
kind of start to see what it's like for a CrossFit gym to kind of be like, no,
Hmm.
sorry. Come again another
Yeah.
time. I'm sure maybe this is just a hiccup, but we'll see you some other time. Because
Yeah.
my first coach, when I first learned how to coach and I got my level 1 cert, she told me the very first thing was like, hey, as much as each one of these people is somebody who you're going to like coach and have a relationship with, do not give somebody all of your undivided attention or really a large percent of your attention when they're a first time like class participant.
Hmm.
Because you just like, as much as you might know them, you might like them. If you give them all of your attention, not these other people, that person may not come back in a day. But those other people who knew you, who watched you, give this person all of the attention,
Hmm.
they kind of notice that. But then also, if they notice something like off with that person, they're going to kind of be like, hey, did you not sense that? And so
Yeah.
I think that's something normally wherever you go in the CrossFit world, any gym in any country, the first thing is going to be it should be a wide open greeting, and then the coach should normally come and interact with you. If you
Yeah.
give a bad vibe, you'll normally kind of watch a coach send themselves back off into like their normal folks, and they'll just watch you, make sure that you're safe. And then once you start coming in, you start being like a regular, they start to develop stuff with you. So
Yeah.
with that conversation, I guess I'll ask you, because we talked a little bit about it, leaving gyms.
Hmm.
It's a big thing. I've done that
Yeah.
3-4 times now. Realistically, only technically one actually worked out kind of well. And it was
Yeah.
basically just because I was moving from Colorado to Texas. So there was really just kind of like a clean break. Hey, we'll see you guys some other time. We have family, so maybe we'll see you guys back up here. But my first gym didn't work out super well. I don't even talk to that first coach anymore.
Yeah.
And then two of my most recent ones, even the one I just finished at, like I told them, hey, I got to go be a dad. I thought I was going to have more time to be able to do the coaching and this and that. But I wasn't even taking classes all that often because I couldn't fit in the time and feel like I was being a good husband at the same time because I was
Yeah.
spending 3 hours at the gym each day. So even then, when I left and I stopped coaching, I kind of felt like there was a bittersweet, like, all right, well, cool. We'll just, rip up your contact and we'll wish you good. All right, cool, man.
Yeah.
So have you ever left the gym? If so, how many times have you ever left?
So I left the first gym in College Station when I moved to Austin, and I'm very lucky. I mean, those people whenever I'm in town, they open their gym to me. I love to see them. I'll go back to College Station in April to MC their event, and
Mhm.
I mean, they would do. They're my family. They still love me. I
Yeah.
still love all of them, and they know that when I'm succeeding in my job, they were part of my start, and they're with me, and they support me fully. And they're so kind. I cannot say enough things about them.
What
And
gym is
then
this?
when
If you don't mind giving
Sawed
them a
Off,
shout
yeah,
out.
Sawed Off CrossFit in College Station, my
Okay.
people. Yeah, love them. And then when I moved to Austin and I started coaching at a gym downtown, I poured my heart into that community, and I planned community events, and I helped build up some of their different programs that they had. And I really, I cared a lot about this group of people. And
Mhm.
it's tough. I mean, when you're in a downtown gym and a lot of people are transplants anyway,
Mhm.
you bring people in, and then some of them leave because they're moving, or they go find something new, and that's downtown, and that's what it was.
Yeah.
But when I had to make the decision to not coach anymore and go full time with being an MC, that was a choice that, I mean, it was really tough because
Mhm.
being a coach, I think to be a good coach, you need to be present. You need to be there. You
Yeah.
need to give your heart all the time. And that's got to be it. That's got to be your heart. And when I'm traveling so much and I'm not there,
Mhm.
I can't coach from afar. I can't tell you what to do on Tuesday at 4:30 if I'm in another country and I'm doing something else. I can't be that coach
Mhm.
for you. And so, there's that reality, and then there's the reality of trying to find people to fill my schedule. I was a full-time coach, and
Yep.
our gym was understaffed, and the people at the gym were not as willing to, "Hey, I'll go out of my way to help you," because I mean,
Yes.
the first time when I'm like, "Hey, I'm gone for 2 days." Okay, cool, that's not a big deal. But then when it's
Mhm.
every other weekend, when I'm gone for another event, things like that, it gets to add up, and I don't like feeling that I was shirking my responsibilities for something else. And so then
Mm.
there's that feeling too. And so what came to it was after I came back from Tori and Pro, and I looked at my calendar and I realized, wow, I'm going to be gone a lot more than I'm going to be here. I need to tell
Mhm.
them I'm leaving. And
Yeah.
so when I told them I was leaving, and I gave them a month's notice. And so I
Mhm.
think that was pretty generous. I said, hey, I'll give you 4 weeks of the best possible coaching I have, and I will love on your people. And when I'm done, hopefully I can stay on as like a client, and I would love to still be a part of this community because a lot of these people I really care about. And
Mhm.
unfortunately, that was not the
The
reality that
reception that you
happened.
got.
Yeah, that was not what happened. And so after that, know, on my last day, I actually never got to say goodbye. And
Aw.
so I never got to tell any of the members that I was leaving because I was told not to. I never got to tell anyone I was leaving, tell anyone where I was going, and I just left. There was a day where I was on Wodify, and then the next day I wasn't. And so a lot of people, the community reached out. The community was upset and they were sad,
Mhm.
and they wanted to be where I was,
Mhm.
but I wasn't going to coach anywhere. And so I wasn't, I can't say, come with me. I'm not going anywhere.
Come
Like
to my home
what could
gym.
I do? And yeah, come with me. I don't know where I'm going, but I'm going somewhere. And so from there, I decided that I could not be a client at a gym that didn't support me as a person. And so I left
Yep.
and I went to a gym 15 minutes away where none of the clientele overlapped. And
Mhm.
now I'm an open gymmer. I do my own programming, and then I jump into
Mhm.
classes on Saturday, and I feel really supported. And when I'm in
Yeah.
there, they're so happy to see me. And I don't know if it's because they're happy to see me or they want to hear my stories from when I travel. Either way, I'll take it.
Mhm.
People are happy to talk to me, and I enjoy that community.
Yeah,
And
if it fills your
it's
heart with joy
special.
to hear any of those, then it's good.
Yeah.
I never get like that story how they didn't let you say goodbye. I don't understand that because d- we're not in a day and age where it's like, oh, hey, Jim Bob didn't come back to the gym today. Wonder what he's doing. He hasn't been in the gym for a month. Wonder where he is. No, I can reach out to you. I can find you any moment I want, and then behind anybody else's back, be like, hey, WTF?
Where'd
It's
she
like
go?
what happened? And some people they're in it just for the ability to like kind of know and just like be in the know, and that's like the cool
Yeah.
thing. But other people are just like, no, like I genuinely like I care. Like I got probably 2 or 3 DMs that were like, hey, I haven't seen you. When are you coming back? Like Christmas break is over. And I was like, ha 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 ha. I'm sorry, like
Yeah.
I'm no longer coaching. I just I had other things on my plate. And they all were like, oh hey, cool. Like if you ever want to get together, bring the wives together again. And we'll do all the stuff. But I never understand when I've seen a couple of gyms that have had some mass exoduses. And we've actually had a couple of those guys on. Even James Townsend was talking to us one time, and he went over what it's like to lose 70 members out of his gym. And all he did was have a disagreement with this one family. And the back end of CrossFit communities, as much as it is a powerful and positive thing, anything like that can also have a negative side. And if it does,
Absolutely.
it tends to be hurtful. So
Absolutely.
you say as a coach, like, you know, you kind of had that rapport with those people. The behind the scenes aspect of the community where it's like it gets really hard when you have to say goodbye or you have to do certain things like that. Do you think that there is kind of like a culture issue sometimes with CrossFit where it's just kind of like if you're not from our gym or you're not kind of like down with this cause, there's like a negative aspect?
I mean, I think I think it probably comes down to the cultural identity of each community. So, you know, there are some gyms where people will just buy into whatever the owner is saying. Doesn't matter if
Yeah.
there's any science behind it, doesn't matter what it is or what the mission is, people are going to buy into it. And that's okay, cool. And then there are some gyms where nobody gets along and they're all just there in classes. There's no synergy. There's nothing that, does anything that brings people together. And I think each different gym has its own community. And I think that's a good thing. But then at the end of the day, I think that's part of the problem is you can't always go from one gym to the next
Mhm.
without feeling like you've left something. If you go to a Gold's and then you go to another Gold's, it's fine. No one's going to say anything
Mhm.
about it. And I think that's the difference from, the community aspect of it to the just fitness aspect of it. And I think it's a hard reality. You want people to come into your gym and feel like they're part of the family. And then if they have to leave for whatever reason, you want them to feel loved and feel welcomed back no
Yeah.
matter what. Or that's the way I would do it if I owned a gym and, there was
Mhm.
no hard feelings. I would want someone to always feel like they could come back. But sometimes, maybe when you own a gym, I don't own a gym and I probably won't ever, but if you own a gym, it's hard to not take things personally,
Yes.
especially when you feel that maybe the success of the gym not necessarily leans on that person, but you've noticed things trending in a positive direction because of that person. And then they decide
Mhm.
to leave. You're like, well, what about me? What about me?
Because that
What
could
about
be
everything
that
that's
could be
going
an
right?
athlete or a coach. Because you could have a coach that
Absolutely.
coaches really well, but then you can have an athlete that is just super positive and gives gifts and talks to
Absolutely.
people and is just that person in the gym that people want to work out around. And
Yes.
if one of those leaves, you kind of need a counterbalance of like a new person.
Yes.
Somebody's
Yes.
got to take that place. And so talking about owners, I guess I'll get off the CrossFit community train here in a second, but out of all the gyms you've been to, maybe I know you're an open gymmer now, you said, which style do you prefer? Because I think there's the CrossFit gym where, like the one I just came from, the gym owner, all of his coaches coach the same standard. They have 9 to 5ers where it's like, hey, we're not all trying to be superhumans. We're not watching the games documentaries and thinking that's going to be us. And then there's the other gyms where I don't want to call them babysitters, but they're gym owners that are like, hey, if I can get enough people, I can buy as much equipment as I can. I can make this place a mecca of fitness. And then I can essentially let anybody and everybody who wants to come here come. And then that gym tends to kind of create hey, we're a competition gym. You want to come here? Cool. We have like a Kobe Bryant mentality. If you're taking class, you're trying to win class. We're giving out like gold stars for PRs and for the winner of the workout or the winner of the warm up even. There are though there are some people who enjoy one versus the other because the A example that I gave is very I'm here for the community. I'm just here to move. I'm here for wellness. That tends to be the aspect. But it also tends to be the one where they're like, hey, we need to see you do things from the ground up so that we know that we're giving coaching. Whereas the latter version is I'll coach you if you want it. But for the most part, you show up, here's the workout, I'll put you through it. but I'm not. I'll give you coaching tips, but I'm not
Oh,
really
yeah.
coaching you. So which
Oh,
one
yeah.
might you identify or just kind of have more fun with?
Eh. So there's a lot to be said about about the type B. There's a lot to be said that I probably would eventually get in trouble for if I spoke too much on. So I think for me personally, I respect part A more. I think when it
Mhm,
comes to a CrossFit gym, the owner is responsible for, okay, this is the programming that we're going to do, and I'm going to hire the
mhm,
best possible coaches to coach you through this programming.
mhm,
Regardless of what it is, I think that owner should hire people that believe in the mission, believe in the programming, and they're willing to
mhm.
do the programming themselves so that they can speak to the clients and help the clients become better versions of themselves. We're
Yes.
not teaching class athletes necessarily how to go compete at the games. That's an entirely different thing. And I think that mindset gets really toxic when people buy into it. When someone joins a CrossFit gym and and their instant thought is, dang, I just RX to workout. I could probably go to the games. That's a problem because that's like saying, yeah, I went to an NFL camp and like just like my own NFL camp, and I decided I could probably make the NFL. I think there's this idea that making it to the games is this tangible thing. It's not. I mean,
Mhm,
I know most of these athletes at this point, even the bottom 10 are some of the fittest people I've ever met in my entire life. And I have
mhm.
so much respect for what they do and what they put themselves through and what they sacrifice to be there that when
Mhm.
someone says something like that, I'm thinking to myself, where did you find the audacity? Where did you get this from? What do you
I'm
mean?
embarrassed right
And
now.
so I
If
think
you
those gyms,
that
oh
was
no,
me when I first started.
it's okay. I want to say it's shifted a little bit as it's
Mhm.
become harder to get to the games. I think early on, when
Yes.
someone could kind of just show up in California and say, I'm going to do the games, I think there's
Mhm.
that mindset. And I think a lot of OGs still have that mindset of, well, I was there once. I was there in 2008, so I could probably go back. And then you're
Yes.
thinking, well, the sport has completely evolved since then. And
In
that's okay. And it
2016, I
should have.
thought I could
It
hit the
should.
regionals at least. And then when I moved from Japan to back over here and I was out of my own little echo chamber, I
Mhm.
met Jared Ederton, and that's where I also
Okay.
met Ken. And I
Yeah.
watched Ken, who is, if you ever get to see him or if you've gotten to meet him, absolute brick shit house. It's like 6'1", just manhandles heavyweight. It's amazing. But I watched him and a couple other guys who were like SF, like or
Mhm.
Rangers, and they were working out with Jared, and he was just schooling them,
Yeah.
and it was embarrassing for them to just be a part of it. And I was
Yeah.
like,
Hmm.
I was sitting at like, I don't know, like a $165. Could like move with the best of them, but I couldn't lift worth a shit. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, well, this just got harder because that
Yeah.
guy is the same height as me, if not shorter, and he lifts 3-4 times as much as I do.
Yeah.
So my rah speech to myself in the mirror in the morning was kind of more, hey, you're actually a piece of shit for thinking that you're better than that guy.
I think for me, I mean, I think I'm what I love about CrossFit is it's an opportunity for everybody to kind of tap into their competitive side. Whether you're
Mm-hmm,
trying to, win the class workout or you're trying
mm-hmm,
to go compete at a local level, maybe at a state level, maybe, you want to go qualify for one of these international events. I love that CrossFit allows people to do that and try to put themselves out
mm-hmm,
there and challenge themselves. I absolutely love that that's what the sport has provided people. But at the same time, I think it's also become this thing where they're getting so wrapped up in the competitive identity of the sport and they're missing out on all of the great parts of it is you're getting fitter, you're getting healthier,
mm-hmm.
you're involved in a community that cares about you and you all, love the same thing. I think you miss out on the beauty of all of that when in your mind all you're thinking about is, yeah, I'm going to make it to the games.
Mm-hmm.
And there are
And
some people that's what they do and they make it to the games and then they're games athletes and that's amazing. It's a lot harder and
then it
the
goes in the
life is just
Instagram
harder.
bio.
Yeah, and I mean, I talk to a lot of these athletes and I'm like, A, what are you going to do when you're done competing? Because it doesn't last forever. So what are you going
No.
to do when you're done competing? And some of them have answers and some of them are like, well, I have this certification, I have this degree so that I can fall back on it. And that's amazing. And then there's some people that don't know what they're going to do when they're done. And I'm like, okay, well, when you're done competing, come talk to me and I'll help you figure it out, because there's ways that we
Mhm.
can, we can brand what you've done, and then you can move forward and have some sort of career that's not necessarily a competitive athlete. But it does, I mean, that type B that you had talked about previously, for me, that's where you lose people. And that's
Mhm.
where the toxicity comes from. And that's where I
I
can
think it's a
check myself
competitive
out.
toxicity, though.
Yeah. I mean, it is. And I mean, for me, like I mean, again, I follow Mayhem Programming, and so that is very competitive, but there's
Yeah.
no part of me that goes on the leaderboard and I'm like, well, where am I today? How am I
Yeah.
doing today? I don't have any desire to compete. There's no part of me that envies any of those athletes that I watched last 2 weekends ago in Miami. No part of me was like, man, I really wanted to do that ring muscle up overhead squat workout. I really wanted to do that. I want to know how he did. No, I probably don't. And then if Mayhem programs an event like that, or programs a workout like that, like they programmed my funny thing, they programmed a rogue workout a couple months ago, and I did it. And I mean, it was very challenging. And I think it took me like 12 minutes to finish. And then I texted my friend and I said, hey, I did this workout in 12 minutes. How long did it take you? And he texts me back and he goes, 7. And so that, and I don't think I'm an unfit person. I would say I'm fit enough for myself, but the fact that the difference there is so huge. And people
Five
that are,
whole minutes.
yeah, 5 minutes. And I thought I was flying. I thought I did well. And I mean, for myself, I did. But that's
Mhm.
where it comes in. And that's where you you can you ground yourself. You're like, okay, settle down, girlfriend. Like, that's not you. And I'm so grateful, truly, I am so grateful that I do not have that competitive passion. I'm so grateful.
There are some people that like I'm gonna buy the Metcons and the Nanos and the knee
Hmm.
sleeves and the wrist
Hmm.
wraps and the belt before I know how to squat type of
Yes.
person.
Everyone
And
loves the
those,
gear. Everyone loves the gear.
well, I mean, I just got the new Nanos. I would lift my foot, but I can't because
Me
chunk
too.
my chunk is in the way. But I would say I was one of those person because I was really excited to get the gear and to do
Hmm.
it, but I knew how to like squat. I knew how to do like bar muscle ups and that kind of stuff by the time I got the equipment. But I was still very excited to get it. And then
Hmm.
once you kind of have like even just the Nanos and you like show
Hmm.
up to the gym for the first time in like actual like labeled CrossFit shoes, and you're like, I feel like I'm a part of this now. I
Yeah.
have something that's like my own jersey. But once you're in that club, then you're like, oh shit, something's on sale. Now I need to buy that too. And then you
Yeah.
continue to keep buying things until you're like, this is becoming a problem.
Yeah.
So with gear in mind,
Mhm.
we'll go on to the next topic I wanted to discuss, which was your sponsorship partners.
Yes.
So, I wanted to ask how you kind of got involved with each one of those.
Yeah.
Me and Ken kind of know a couple of those and the guys behind them. But if you want to just kind of like run through and let everybody know kind of who you work with and maybe
Yeah.
a little backstory on how you got there.
So I would say my main kind of sponsor with that I work with, brand partner, would be LSKD, and
Mm-hmm.
they're provide everything I could ever possibly want to wear, which is amazing. So
Mm-hmm.
with them, I went out to Torian Pro in May, and I went to their HQ, and I mean, they were amazing. They're absolutely some of the best people I've ever met in my entire life. And after I left, I mean, we did some social media things together when I was there, and they gave me so many clothes. I was so glad I brought a second suitcase. And so when I went home, I was still thinking of this brand that I had worked with and all of the people. And I was thinking, well, they're not really in the States yet. How do we get them in the States? What can we do together? And we kept talking, and we kept, kept in contact, kept doing things together. And then their brand started to grow. And people in the US started asking questions. What is LSKD? What are they doing? And then it continued to just snowball. And now they have a team in the States, and we work together. And I mean, it's been so much fun the last year just creating this relationship with them. And I mean, I cannot imagine a better company that aligns with everything that I believe in, that the
Mm-hmm.
people are some of my best friends and my family. And so when it comes to something like that, I think when it comes to brand partners, being aware of who you're working with and what they believe in is so much more important than what they're actually providing you. So,
Mm-hmm.
there's so many clothing companies out there that are so willing to give people free clothing. And okay, nice. And the clothing might be cool, or maybe it's not. But to me, it's more important about the people and who I'm actually working with than the clothing itself. The benefit of having really great clothing is, I mean, yeah, it's great, but the people are
Great
why I
clothing.
love working with them. Yeah, people are why I like to work with them. And then there's also Podium,
Mhm.
and they're amazing. They signed me on as their first kind of non-athlete person, which is fun
Mhm.
for me because, and I also love that because I'm not an athlete. I'm not. And I don't want that to be my identity. And
You
so
are your own athlete, Bella.
I'm not, well, no, so I would say I'm athletic, but I'm not an athlete. I do
Mm,
fitness, but I'm not an
okay.
athlete. And so it's not one of those identities to me that I'm like, yeah, that's me. And so when they told me they wanted to work with me as their first non-athlete, I was like, thank you. Like, I'm doing the right thing in branding myself as a non-athlete. Yes, I do fitness, but I'm not an athlete. And I don't want people to
Mm.
think that I'm kind of coming for this athletic position.
No, you
And
can be
that,
the first style of people who, like in a local gym, understand, like, oh, hey, we're represented as just like these people, they know who they're
yeah,
selling to. And cool,
yes,
yeah, just because Matt and some of the other guys and Justin and those guys can be on big posters, but oh, hey,
right.
you know what? I saw that girl at a competition, a local one like BCS. Oh, I know her. I'll support.
Yes. You
Hmm.
trust me, and I want
Mm,
people to trust me, which is important to me when it comes to working with brands, is I want people to understand that if I'm wearing it and it's always what I'm wearing, or if it's what I'm always talking about, it's because we've actually put in the work on the front end and we've
mhm,
decided this relationship is actually beneficial for both of us because we believe in each other. And so that's with Podium. Whoop, it's one of those things. I'm technically a CrossFit community person with them, and they were planning on coming to Austin and opening an office, and then they never did. And so
mhm,
that is what it is, but it's my wearable of choice. Pixel, we met back in Madrid. And so I never really, I mean, I never cared too much about what grips I was using because I'm like, well, if it keeps my hands from getting blisters, I'm good. That's all that really
yeah.
mattered to me. And when I met them in Madrid, their people were so kind and they had these really cool branded Madrid championship grips that I got, and I wore them every single time I had to do gymnastics when I came home, like literally 2 months after Madrid. I'm still wearing these Madrid championship grips. And I'm thinking, these are
Mhm,
so fun. And so then when they approached me about working together, they're like, hey, what do you think? And in my mind, I'm thinking, this is an absolute no brainer. You're already my grip of choice. You're already what I want to work with. So, yes, that makes sense. No, I'm
mhm.
not an athlete, but yes, I'm using these products. And then I'm trying to think of who else that is. Oh, Toe Spacers. That's another one where I had already used their product. And then they came to me saying, hey, let's work together. And to me, I
Mhm,
appreciate that because in my mind, if I'm already using something, then you probably have already heard me talking about it.
mhm,
And if it's a good company that I believe in, let's go, let's do it. So
mhm. What about Mayhem? What made you
Mayhem,
partner
oh
up
my
with
goodness.
Mayhem?
So I've been following Mayhem programming for a long time. And
Mhm,
I mean, I'm at events with them all the time. I love their athletes. Some of them are my very good friends. Their media team, some of my favorite people in this entire world. If they ever listen to this, they'll know who I'm talking about. And so they approached me. It's actually funny. So one of their guys approached me in, I want to say it was maybe September, asking me to come on as one of their program ambassadors. And they don't
hmm.
have very many of those because they don't need them. People are going to
Nope.
sign up for Mayhem regardless. They don't need them. And I never saw the message. I never saw it. And I'm
Mm,
thinking, oh no, like, oh no. And so then another girl reached out and she was like, hey, what do you think? Do you want to come on as a Mayhem ambassador? And I'm thinking, yeah, that makes sense. Like, I
mhm,
already follow your programming anyway. Anybody who knows me knows that I'm all about Mayhem and this is phenomenal. It's already something that aligns. So it's again one of those no-brainer things that was already a part of my life
mhm.
that I already am. Let's do this. Let's just go and we'll figure out the rest on the other side.
Was there something about the programming or just about Mayhem in itself that separates it for you as something that you want to do? Because for me, I
Yeah.
started as a ComTrain guy because I thought that
Hmm.
was the thing, and they're the first ones I saw that
Everybody.
were like they were putting it on beyond the whiteboard, and I was like, all right, cool, I can make it super simple.
Hmm.
I like some of the athletes, cool, yep. And then I kind of got tired of it. I felt like it was just put out there for the same thing that the athletes there use, like capturing them. It was their programming, and it was like, oh, we'll just release that to the public and sell it as ComTrain. Um,
Yeah.
and then it was after that that I was kind of like, all right, like I hear Mayhem's doing a thing. Like, let me look at it. Did it for a couple of months, and then I got the Mayhem compete. And then I even did HWPO at the tail end of COVID. And
Okay.
I liked their stuff, but it was, if you got behind by like a day or 2 days,
Hmm.
catching up was just a pain in the ass. But then now I'm back with Mayhem, but I do the Mayhem every day just because
Okay.
I guess it's easier to pay $20 for like the limited amount of time I have to just go down in
Hmm.
the garage gym with limited equipment rather than pay $50 for a bunch of stuff that I can't even do currently at the moment because I don't have the time.
Yeah.
But I think that Mayhem has their programming encompasses like experts in each
Yeah.
field they work with, right? Having Bergner strength, having Henshaw do the like aerobic capacity, then you have whatever the fuck Rich is doing just as a listed thing, just to
Yeah.
want to hurt yourself. But then you have like proven athletes in each aspect of their teams or individuals who write the programming supposedly, and it's good programming, it's good comments in the comment sections, it's support that they give you. And
Hmm.
if you've ever gone to one of these major competitions, Mayhem fucking travels.
Yeah.
It's not just the people like the shirts. I think it's
Yeah.
that the gym legitimately travels. And so
Yeah.
for me, that's why I choose Mayhem. But if you have a reason why you chose to work with Mayhem over, or even to follow them over another company, I'd love to hear it.
Yeah. So for me, I was doing comp train and the volume of kind of monostructural cardio was
Hmm.
too much for me. So I was really struggling to put on weight. And
Hmm.
naturally, I'm a skinnier person. And so that was really challenging for me. And so then all my friends were doing mayhem. And I figured, well, might as well just jump into mayhem, compete, do what they're doing. And when you know the message of mayhem, you're like, well, obviously I support everything that they're doing and they're good people and I like to support good people and good
Hmm.
brands. And then I started to notice that I was getting fitter. And
Hmm.
it's one of those funny things is when you start doing these workouts, the workouts are so much fun. I mean, they're so much fun. But when you realize that you're getting fitter and you're following a program kind of down to a T, and you're like, oh, well, they tell you it's going to work. But then when you see it in your own life and it's working, okay,
Hmm.
cool. That's what sells me. And it's fun too because I think I'm very good friends with some of the harder pays off guys. I would say Jake Marconi is one of my buddies, and he definitely gives me crap for following Mayhem. And they're the harder pays off team. They're everywhere, and so it's really fun to kind of go to events with them, and they give me crap for following Mayhem, and they're like, "You don't even have our sticker, guys. We don't work together. We're just here together. Like, come
Mm.
on." And I think, I mean, their workouts are really fun, and I enjoy being able to jump into the spectator workouts that they host or their volunteer and staff workouts. I enjoy it when I get to
Mhm.
do it with them. But for me, I mean, it's everything that Mayhem does. And the programming is amazing. It truly is amazing. And I've
Mhm.
seen my body completely transform. I've seen myself get crazy fit that I've never,
Yeah.
you know, I never intended to be this fit for myself. But here I am, I'm doing it, and I don't plan on stopping, and I really enjoy it. And as long as I am enjoying it, and as long as I'm believing in what they're saying, that's good
Mhm.
enough for me. And I think what is amazing is, you said it yourself, you do every day. I follow
Mhm.
compete, but I know people who do the everyday hero track. I know people who are doing minimal. I know people who are doing, the masters. There's everything that you
Mhm.
could possibly want within this programming, which is
Yeah.
so amazing and beautiful. And that's the point of CrossFit anyway, is to kind of meet you where you're at and then make you a
Mhm.
better person from where you are. And then you can decide what your next adventure is.
Mhm. So I guess I guess I do the everyday hero. I didn't know that there's a difference. But then even like my wife now coming off being, postpartum and whatnot, like the Mayhem 30, Mayhem 60, Mayhem
Hmm.
minimal equipment.
Yes.
There's like
Yes.
7 different tracks just for somebody who's
There's so many.
in their living room. Like you could
Yes.
have one kettlebell and you could follow Mayhem's programming somehow.
I mean,
It's
that's CrossFit
astonishing.
though. Think about it that
Yes.
way is that's the point of CrossFit is to be able to do fitness anywhere and at any
Mhm.
time with whatever you have. And so I think they've really kind of maintained that identity with it is, hey, we're going to give you fitness. We're going to get you fit
Yeah.
regardless of where you're doing this.
And they also did it in a way, I think that I don't want to say the religion or whatever that they all kind of are followers of, and the idea that they are just good people, but they took an opportunity when they were already a big gym, right? And then in a time like COVID where people needed help, people needed an outlet, they somehow made, people would call this cornering the market, I think, or just kind of being like a monopoly, but they cornered the market on fitness from home, from a gym, from an individual to a massive community. And they made it fun while they made themselves into an empire. And it
Absolutely.
is, but it's an empire of like from outside good people. And then
Yeah.
you slowly watched other athletes trickle in. And I think like some of them, like China Cho or Tasia, those guys kind of came in at Rich's beck and call. Like he was just kind of like, hey, I need another person, come join, whatever. But then there's, the Luke Parkers. I mean, I know Angelo is kind of from there. We've had him on talked. Sam Cornoyer, we actually had him on here. He talked about it, and he was just like, hey, Rich just DM'd me one day. He was like, hey, you want to come try out at Mayhem and just like see if it's a gym you'd like to follow? And he's like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But they did it in such a way that they gathered other like-minded people, just like the sport says, and they are consistent with things. And there seem to be good people all around. Don't be surprised if at some point I reach back out to you and say, hey, do you know this person? Can we ask for a connection?
No problem.
Because Mayhem is honestly, it's one of the funnest conversations we've had. We've had Jim Hensel on, like I said, a couple of athletes, and all of them are super nice, genuine people, but they don't say the same things, but they mean the same things. So it's not like anybody's reading from a script and it's this is what we've all been told to say if we ever get on podcast, but it's different words, different ways of saying things, but everybody gets the same message from that gym. And that to me is what separates them from the comp trains, which I'm sure Ben Bergeron's a great coach. Don't believe in them anymore, and like at least not the programming style. And then everybody else, HWPO. I feel bad. We had Matt on here one time, and I wore a Mayhem shirt.
Oh boy.
Not my my best move.
Not your finest moment.
And then I got to meet him at Rogue Invitational, and I wore some Rich's clothing, and we took pictures and all that other stuff. And I was like, I'm 2 for 2 on being a real shitbag here. So
That's okay.
We'll get to the point here where we're going to start wrapping it up. But I do have one section. I wanted to ask you a couple of questions, almost kind of rapid fire. Just what's your favorite? Here's A, here's B. You tell me what you think.
Sure.
Okay. First, favorite podcast.
Favorite podcast, probably, what is it called? I think it's my friend's podcast. I listen to it. I don't listen to podcasts often.
You said it's your friend's podcast, but you don't know what it's called?
No, I think it's Content
friend.
Lab. I think it's Content Lab. I don't listen to podcasts, so I'll tell you that.
Okay.
I really don't. I don't really know. I don't listen to podcasts often. I like music, so there's that. I prefer
possibly
music.
Content Lab.
Possibly, yeah, possibly.
Okay. Are you an iTunes or a Spotify person?
Spotify person. My dad tried to pay me to listen to Apple Music, and I said I like Spotify. I'm sorry.
What's the purpose between?
It's like the difference between an Android and an iPhone.
Are you an iPhone person?
Yeah.
Okay, well, hey, I kind of associate Spotify with Android now, so
that's a bummer. No way.
At least okay.
All the cool kids use Spotify. I'll tell you that.
If we can ever get our video on Spotify, that'd be great. Snatch or cleans?
Snatch. I think it's a lot more impressive when someone can actually snatch a barbell well. And I mean, I think anyone can grip it and rip it from the floor and clean something off the ground. So,
okay, fair. Which one of yours is better? I'm assuming your snatch.
I would say my snatch is probably prettier. My clean and jerk is definitely heavier.
Okay, figured on that one. Here's an interesting one. Class of athletes. Do you like Australian athletes or the class of them or the class of European athletes?
That's so mean. No, those are like my best friends.
I'm just saying. No.
Do you? Oh no! Either way I say this,
you're taking it as a whole. You could say
either way I say this, I'm getting in trouble. I hope you know that.
You could say either one of them and just say like more people that way.
No, like I'll tell you, if you were gonna divide anybody, those are my two like best people are in both of those.
Mm,
Um, I'm gonna say Australians, and I'm gonna
okay.
pray that my European friends don't listen to this.
I'm just gonna put it out to European Instagram then.
You're just gonna blast
Insta-
it over in Europe. Thanks, guys. I'm
Instagram.eu.
in trouble.
All right. Noble, Reebok, Nike, or some other brand that you really
Innovate.
enjoy. Oh, God damn it. Okay. I saw
Innovate.
that coming. Favorite sport outside of CrossFit?
So I think I'm a Cowboys fan, so I really enjoy football. But I told myself this year that I wanted to get into another sport. So if I
Mhm.
become a fan of the PLL, that is because I told myself that I'm going to start liking new things.
What is PLL?
The Premier Lacrosse League.
Ooh,
Yeah, so
okay.
I told myself to challenge myself, go find a new fandom. So we'll see.
Yeah, you're gonna
I'm gonna
have to
do it.
because this year's not your year.
Yeah.
Just like every other year. Do you have
I
a
mean,
pair of
I'm used to the disappointment. It's fine.
do you have a pair of jean shorts and like white Michael Jordan shoes and you have that whole
Mm,
Cowboys look? No?
so I have like 5 pairs of genuine cowboy boots. And I have some
Do you know the
jerseys.
look?
My favorite jersey is a Witten jersey. So
Oh
there's
God.
that.
Do you know the look that I'm talking about though?
I know,
The one
look at
that's
the
on all
shirt.
the okay.
I know what you're talking about, but I'll tell you what, I'm a classic Cowboys fan. Take it.
All right. Okay, I got a couple more and then we're
Okay.
gonna wrap it up. So hot or cold weather? Which one do you prefer?
Hot weather. I don't do cold.
Okay. I'm a cold guy because you can add more layers, but hot you can only take off so many.
You can jump in the ocean.
Don't live by one.
Me either.
Sounds like a me problem.
Mm.
Uh I really have a feeling this is gonna go one way or the other.
Oh no.
Are you more of a fan of Rich or Matt?
Oh, that's mean.
It is a little
Okay,
mean.
so I will say no, so I'll say I am probably a bigger fan of Matt just because
Okay.
I've had more interactions with Matt. And, and Matt has, I mean, have been so kind to me every single time. Matt is one of those people that I've met him at this point where he knows my name, and it's a very great interaction. And I've
Mhm,
met Rich, several times, but Rich is this person that's always, I mean, he's got so much going on. So I would
mhm.
say just as a person, I really enjoy Matt.
Okay. Uh, tomorrow it's going to be just like that Wodify issue. Tomorrow you're going to be off Mayhem's program.
I know.
I'll make
I'm gonna get
make
an
sure to
email. Tell Martin,
SoundCloud
you're done.
sound clip that. Favorite new athlete in the sport? Somebody who's not been around like the
Favorite
last 5
new
years.
athlete. Ooh. So there's a couple. I would say people that I've really enjoyed getting to know last year. Paige Powers, she just won Waza.
Hmm.
We met kind of in September at an event in Florida, and instantly I absolutely loved her. She's amazing. She's so much fun. And then there's also, I would say he's not really new to the scene, but someone who I've loved their come up in their journey would be Nick Matthew. He's,
Hmm.
I mean, watching him out there and watching all of the fans that he has hype him up, it's so much fun. Like truly watching them just throw down and everyone gets so excited because he's wearing half of a shirt. It's awesome. And he's very
Okay.
kind too. And he's a great dad. So I think everything about him is awesome. And then I think there's some other people, and I'll say my Aussies and my Europeans. So on the Australian side, Gracie Walton, I would say she's someone to watch. She's an
Hmm.
absolute unit, and she crushed it at Torian last year. I think at this point she's doing CrossFit like a year and a half, and she already made Torian. Like when I tell you she's someone to watch, she's someone to watch.
Okay.
And then on the European side, I've gotten to know them really well. But Fabi, he won Dubai this year, and
Hmm.
he's had, I mean, his start, he's gone up and down, qualified for the games in 2020, and then it, never happened. And so watching his come up, I mean, honestly, even in the last 5 months has been unreal. And he's so kind. And he's one of those athletes that's really fun to believe in him and to watch him thrive. So I would say I've probably covered all the Americans, the Australians, the Europeans, just about everybody. And I'm excited. Honestly, I'm excited for all of these people to kind of take off this next year.
Okay. Well, the one class of people we may have forgotten or left out, Canadians. Who's
The
your
Canadians.
favorite out of the two, Pat or Brent?
Okay, so I love this. So I would say Brent is my favorite, and it's for a couple reasons. So we had this interaction in Dubai where he actually thought I was from Australia because he, much like you, had never heard of me before. And then he told me, he goes, Miss Bella Martin, are you from Australia? And I looked at him and I said, Mr. Brent Fikowski, no, I'm not. And he goes, well, where are you from? And I said, Texas. And he looks at me and he is like, I had never heard of you before Torian Pro. So I just assumed you were from Australia and then you had a very good American accent. And I thought, I truly, like, I left this conversation thinking to myself, what in the world? Like,
You should have
what in
finished
the
that
world?
conversation with an Australian accent.
It was hilarious. I said I identify as Australian, so like it makes sense. Um, so I would say probably Brent, and Brent is friends with one of my friends, Zach, and so I would say just as like a social thing. And I mean, he's honestly one of those competitors that is really fun to have at events because he's respectful to the judges. He actually elevates the competition because he knows what he's talking about. So if you're sitting in a briefing and he asks a question, it's got a purpose, and you're going to want to listen. And he's also a phenomenal athlete, so he's really fun to watch. So I would say definitely Brent Fikowski.
Well, it has been an amazing time getting to know you, Miss Bella Martin.
Oh, thanks.
This is the point in the show where we give the floor to the guest and we let you give any information on products, promotion, projects you're working on. Let you tell the people where they can find you on social media and how they can support you going forward. Where do they find you kind of next?
Okay, so if you ever need me on anything, Miss Bell Martin's where you can find me. Twitter, LinkedIn, my email, my Instagram, I think my Facebook. Anything you need, it's easy to find me. And I kind of make that on purpose is, wherever I am, you can always find me. I will be around the world. London is next. So if you're in Europe, let me know. I'll be in Spain several times this year. I'll be in Australia. I'll be in Denmark. I'll be in South America. I'll be all around the country. So if I'm ever at an event and you want to come say hi, please don't be shy. I love meeting people. And in terms of if there's anything that I think you should buy, I don't spew the BS. So if you're on my page and you're like, oh, she likes this, yeah, I do. And I would go buy it. And there's discount codes for everything you could ever probably want on my link tree. So if you like something I'm wearing, I probably like it too. And you could probably go get it.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, Bella. Folks, that's going to be a wrap for us, for Ken Clark, who is not here, and Miss Bella Martin. I am the real Steve Holt, and this has been It's Not All Black and White. Good afternoon, everybody. So I think I still have to have Ken come on and close this out. But if there's ever anything that we can do for you, or if there's ever a time that we're going to be around and might see you, we'll hit you up. But if you ever need anything from us, just let us know.
No, I appreciate it. I'm everywhere. So if you see me, I'm around.
Well, if you're ever doing anything in Austin and you think of us, I'm down in San Antonio. Ken travels pretty well. Just let me know if there's anything going on that you'd like to have us come around or just want to get a workout in or something.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
All right. Well, I will talk to you some other time then, Bella.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Have a good one.